Hi Taurus, welcome to May 2020 and a very happy birthday to Taurus Sun, and to all of you a very happy start of a new season, a fresh start. In this video we're going to cover what are the key things that could be started in the month of May, because it's your season, it's the time to put the intentions for the next 1 year. We will also discuss how we are going to see a preview of 2021, because a key aspect of 2021, which is Saturn square Uranus, is playing out right now. So we'll see how to handle that, because it's source of great creative output, but we have to harness that aspect properly. We'll also talk about the soulful full moon that we have on 7th of May in your house of partnerships, contracts, relationships. We also have a beautiful, beautiful cosmic smile happening between 15th to 17th of May this month, which are some positive dates in the middle of all of this volatility that we are undergoing. June is going to be a period of eclipses, which come with fated shifts and changes. We are going to handle that separately, but understand that June would be a little bit more volatile as compared to May. So the good dates that we're getting in the month of May, we got to take advantage of that. So let's look into the details of this month. Taurus, in the month in which all the energy is dedicated to you. Sun is in your sign, Mercury is in your sign, Venus, your ruler, is standing still. There is a whole lot of focus on your self image, doing things that are good for you. There's a lot of focus to build and rebuild your external persona in this season. Bring changes and impactful changes. You would be reviewing what impact you have on others, what kind of influence you have on others, how do you show up to others, who you are, and how you're being perceived by others. That will come into focus. And Mercury is also in your sign, and on 4th of May, Mercury and Sun, they're both meeting each other in your sign. When this happens, our mind gets sped up. We start thinking forward. We start thinking of how do I move forward with it. Mercury is going to go ahead of Sun. So we'll be now in a go-go mode when that happens. Our mind takes on a speed of itself and it starts figuring out how do I originate new opportunities for me? What kind of new financial opportunities can I achieve? What kind of new discussions can I do? What kind of changes in my self-expression and business I need to do to be more impactful on others? You're looking to make an impression. You're looking to assert yourself. You're looking to be spontaneous in your expression when this happens. You want to put the past behind you, start a new personal cycle. And right at the start of this month, Uranus is what is the key influence as we are entering this month. And Uranus is in your sign for the next couple of years, all the way till 2026. Since last year till all the way till 2026, Uranus is in your sign, and that is a very, very rare transit to happen. Once in 84 years, Uranus transits a sign. So it's a very rare transit to have in our lifetime, and it is both in some ways a privilege as well as a responsibility when this happens. It's sort of a gift as well as a responsibility. It's not the easiest of the aspects. I have been through both my sun and moon and Aries, gone through the Uranus impact, and it's not the easiest of the aspects to go through. But what Uranus does is that there is one thing common that all people experience as a part of the Uranus touching down our sun or moon, is that we are set free. We are set free from sometimes our own boundaries, sometimes our own foundations, sometimes our own limitations that we create, that this is the limit to which I would go, or this is the limit to which I can go because of our conditioning. There is an impetus to break free from your own old self when Uranus comes in our sign. There is um, there is a vibration through our soul which sort of wants you to be more authentic in your self expression. So as I mentioned in my note, Taurus anyways does not suffer any fools, but especially when Uranus is in our sign, we just cannot stand anything that smells or looks not so authentic. So you will be much more verbal, you'll be much more outspoken, you'll be looking to express yourself more freely when Uranus is there, and especially because Mercury is in your sign till about 11th of May as well. So this is the time for you to speak up. You'll be sort of originating discussions with people, taking initiative to do that. But the fallacy of Uranus is that it's not a very focused energy. We can get sort of lost in trying to be free, but free to do what, kind of a thing. So you have to keep in mind that we are here to establish our own truths. You, even if there are things that right now look like they are absurd in nature, and we are entering that kind of a category right now with next year Saturn and Uranus going in square with each other. There will be things that will be way too futuristic, way too ahead of time, that will be coming in our consciousness, but we ourselves would be saying this is not really real, this is not going to happen. So you have to give yourself the bandwidth to have a free mind here. Think ahead of the time. There is where there's going to be no path. You, as Taurus, knows how to create a concrete path over there. So what I'm trying to say is that it's the time to set free the inventive, the original, having new insight and idea side of you, and not take the old road or the conservative roads anymore. And even if you wanted to, you would not be able to do that. And I'm telling you this because as a fixed sign, I have my rising in a fixed sign as well. We tend to have the innate capability to make the best out of what we have right now, to create value out of an existing situation. But when Uranus is there in our sign, the existing situation ceases to exist, and we have to lead and not follow the old path. When that happens, we have to revel in our uniqueness and in our ability to create something which has never been done before. This is an aspect that Nikola Tesla had natally. The prodigal genius, right? So the genius brainwave that you're going to have, it's going to be ahead of time. It will be possibly not taken so kindly by other people as well, and to some extent you will find yourself rebel against any kind of authority or any kind of thing that feels that it's not fair. You're going to be a little bit offbeat. You're supposed to express yourself in a more authentic, more offbeat, more forward looking way. And what lacks though with Uranus, as I was trying to mention, is consistency. We become a little bit inconsistent. We can even become a little bit harsh or erratic when this happens. So you want to be a little bit careful, especially when you think you're being direct at the time, but it's the time also to bring your partners along with you. And the full moon that is happening on 7th of May, it is bringing the focus to the others in your life. Because Taurus, when Uranus is in your sign, it's not just you who changes, it's also how you connect with others changes. The critical axis of you and others is getting activated both by Uranus as well as the season, and your relationships and partnerships and the way you connect with others is going to go through significant amount of change. Early Taurus would have already experienced this in their relationships, in their physical appearance, in them, how they take care of their body, how they look. Many of you might have changed how you look completely as well, because this process kind of started in 2018, but it took finally Uranus entered here fully last March 2019. So many of you might have started those changes. The first contact is like a lightning bolt. We suddenly don't want to be in the old situation. You might have experienced that since 2018. But the physical changes happen when Uranus transits your exact degrees over the course of 2 years. It will go back and forth on your exact degrees. Most of you will have over 2 years of experience. And right now, Uranus is at around 6 degree. So if you are a April born Taurus, if you're a Taurus sun, or if you have uh, Taurus rising or moon in the first 10 degrees, you would have experienced this at a physical level. Taurus moon would have experienced that in their personal life, at their emotional level. Taurus sun would have experienced that in their career, Taurus rising in their entire existence, that we want to not be the same anymore. We as a person, as a sign, you change when Uranus enters in your sign, because it's a very rare transit. So as a what we know Taurus as, that changes, and we'll see that in global events as well, because Taurus represents financial system, the way we transact in financial systems. It represents money. So we are seeing the financial revolution take speed since Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018, and we'll see that accelerate. What happens when Saturn makes an aspect with this wild card Uranus is that it tries to harness the energy, this brilliance, this wanting to challenge status quo, this wanting to do things differently. And it wants to harness that in a productive, constructive way, because that's what Saturn does. It creates a structure for our wild side. It creates a structure for our brilliance. It creates a structure for the this innate feeling that you have, intuition that you have a great idea, but you don't know how to execute that. Saturn creates the structure for that, and Saturn is sitting in your house of career, and it will stay there for 2.5 years again. This is like life changing time for you, Taurus, because Saturn in our house of career happens once in 28 and a half years. So you're having some rare transits all together, and you're just seeing the preview of that, because Saturn will fully enter your career house in December 2020. Right now, it's just dipping its toes into it till July. So it's just giving a preview of redefining the very structure of who you are known as in the external world. And Saturn in Aquarius is very productive. You can make a lot out of that in a very constructive and positive fashion. It is at the top of your chart. It can help you achieve a peak of your career, because Saturn in Aquarius is about gains, it's about attaining social status, it's about creating something that is of benefit to large set of masses, all the things that I spoke about in the Saturn in Aquarius video, which you may want to look at. So this is the time to be recognized for the work you have done, and Saturn will make you work hard in creating a proper structure of your career during this time, during the next 2.5 years. Last time we had this was in February 1991 to January 1994. I think most of us were not old enough to experience any work or a career at that time. So this is the first time in your working life, possibly, and the last time, possibly, that you're having this transit. So it's, for most of us, it's once in a lifetime transit to restructure our career completely, to set up the new rules, the new boundaries of our career, of your social path, your mission in life. And there could be, while you're trying to do that, because Uranus is making a hard aspect with this, there could be trouble with authorities. You don't want to work under an authority. The whole energy of wanting to set free, not being under somebody, wanting to be your own authority of your own time, clashes with Saturn in your house of career. There could be a clash with rules, regulations, established structures here. So you will be creating, in my view, your own structure of career, which has to imbibe these two together. You're wanting to be independent, you're wanting to have this technical innovation, or this even ahead of time ideas that you're getting, whether they're in field of technology, they're in field of mind, they're in field of astronomy, any of the things that are advance and ahead of time. You will create that, and you'll have to be somehow be pushed to structure that into either a business, or imbibe that in an existing administration in some ways. You would be required to change your role to include this side of you. You sort of have to imbibe these two sides of you, because you'll find the initial expression of it. And I have to tell you the good and the bad. The bad of this is that you might feel that you and your uniqueness is not being honored. It's not being publicly recognized in some ways. When there is a clash between these two houses, there is an issue in public recognition of our unique talents or our uniqueness. And with that struggle, because everything comes through a little bit of conflict sometimes, through this imperus to make through, you'll find a way to combine these two. As I said, when you have Uranus in transiting your house, if there is no path, you create your own path. So jobs that did not exist before, profiles that did not exist before, whether they're part of your organization. So I know many people who created their own, they wanted to be like their own person, they wanted to have their own business, but due to some circumstances they either could not or would not want to do that. They created things in their existing business, in their existing corporations, where they were running the business like a entrepreneur, for example. So, and this is very good even for setting up your own business at the same time, but everybody cannot do that or does not have the circumstances to do that. So I'm giving you another example. Saturn will teach you to be responsible of your social participation. It is sort of a graduation from college. It is like the last 2.5 years, Saturn has been working hard on creating a skill set, expanded mindset, knowledge. You have acquired new set of knowledge. You've acquired the ability to think beyond your old skill set in the last 2.5 years. And your faith, you've worked hard on your faith. You might have worked on acquiring some sort of higher knowledge. Now it is like graduation from college. We have learned what we were supposed to. Now it has to be implemented in practical world. You have to use that and define realistic strategies to attain your mission through responsible and dedicated work. And that will involve you being in limelight. That will involve you being sort of in, not hide anymore. You have to be the face of something. You have to be the leader of something. You have to be the head of something. When Saturn is at the head of at the top of our chart, we are given responsibility. We restructure our title, what and who the world looks us at as. And every time in your season, like we are in right now, you get the opportunity to think out of the box of what it could be, because Uranus gets activated in your season. It meets Sun, it meets Mercury, it meets your external persona, it meets your mind, it meets your heart. So it stimulates you to move away from the old and create a new identity. Your ego, your sense of self, your old identity, it's getting sort of in a way attuned for success professionally by through a dissonance, through this high vibration, through this restlessness between yourself. But this balance of responsibility and individuality is the preview of 2021 for you. This aspect, Saturn square Uranus, is a very lucrative and positive aspect if we harness the energy of the square. It's a very tense aspect because there's a fixity fighting with volatility. There's old fighting with new. There's a conservative fighting with radical ideas. And that fight is very much internal within us, wanting to sort of break free. So the balance of your responsibility, your need to lead something, your need to make it, so as to speak, in career, is going to conflict with your wanting to go solo, wanting to go independent, wanting to speak your radical mind or radical ideas which are not conservative. So professional responsibility will increase, it will toughen you up, and you'll discover how to use your intuition, your experimental side well, while imbibing that into this toughened up professional environment. You'll be detaching to some extent because Saturn in Aquarius is objective. You'll be dealing with professional issues with a little bit of detachment, and you learn to do that under this, because sometimes what happens is Uranus in our first house. It incites our emotions. It There's huge amount of emotional underpinning to wanting to set free, because whenever this happens, there's suppressed emotions that come to surface. Saturn in Aquarius teaches us to channel them productively rather than um, rather than getting a little bit emotional about it and publicly emotional about it. Saturn in 10th is about control in public, control in how we display our emotions in public. And hence, it will try to channel your inventive side very, very productively by asking you to impart a little bit of detachment in how you handle major changes in your life. You'll be breaking free from limited mindset. Discover new dimensions of yourself. This is not about somebody else. When Uranus is in first house, it's not like somebody else is influencing you. You, within you, are being set free. So flashes of insights come and you have to give air to it. You'll feel wired about it. You'll feel wired right now at the start of this month because Mercury has just hit Uranus. Whenever that happens, it zaps your mind and something new has to come out of it. And it can be wasted in revolting. It can be wasted in just feeling angry because that it can manifest like that. But when a blockage or a rule of or a rejection strikes your innovative idea, don't give up here. You are a persistent, consistent innovator. You'll find a way. Think about Tesla. How many times people told him when he came first with his idea, he was rejected. Of course, he was rejected because first of all, he did not know how to commercially implement that idea. So Saturn allows us to do that. It gives us this exact discipline required to channel our wild ideas into a commercially sustainable way, which normally we would not do that. So it's exactly like that. There's actually a movie. I'll put a link below. I don't know if you've seen that recently on Tesla, which was made, which I think you should watch because I wish I had watched it when I had Uranus in my first house. There's so much brilliance. The insights you have never ever felt before, they will come to you and they will shake you out of your old comfort zone, and it will become so much easier to move out of your comfort zone when Uranus is here because it will be the only choice. It will feel like the only choice. It will feel like the obvious choice to not adhere to convention. And that is a tough one for a fixed sign who likes to create value out of what we have instead of uprooting things. But life is not going to be ordinary. Life is not going to be ordinary. So we see preview of all of that in the month of May. What also you will experience is your ruler going retrograde. I'm not going to detail that over here because I made a separate video on that. But your ruler going retrograde takes you inward in the second half of May. Especially early part of June, you'll experience bulk of that. But when our ruler goes retrograde, we evaluate our sources of income because it's going retrograde in your house of money. You will reevaluate your skill set. You will reevaluate how much money you are getting out of what you're doing right now. What are the sources of income that will give you the appropriate returns? What kind of skill upgrade you need to do? So those questions will come up, and North Node is going to go into your house of money as well. Again, it's a long-term 18-month transit. I'm not covering it here. It needs a much more in-depth discussion, which I'll do in a separate video. North Node or Rahu moving into your house of money makes it obvious that you'll have fated shifts in the next 2 years in the house of financial, the way you make money. That is supposed to evolve significantly over the course of next 2 years. And that ties in with this aspect that we just spoke about of Uranus in your sign and Saturn in your house of career. What's happening other than that this month, as if this was not enough, is that 7th of May, this is a critical month for you. So your critical axis is getting activated. 7th of May, we have a super full moon in the sign of Scorpio, which is your opposite sign. So your house of partnerships, contracts, relationships is getting activated. And full moons bring about completion. They bring about secrets to open, especially in Scorpio. So if there have been anything going on below the surface when it comes to your contracts, when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to your commitments to others, that can come out and open, especially related to your personal partner. This is a very healing and positive full moon because we have Neptune making a positive aspect with it. But there's an underlying always of high emotions when a full moon happens. So these dates, 6th, 7th, or 8th of May, you'll find that the emotions are going to be really high, especially in your interaction with your business partners, at office, with bosses, or with your personal partner. The discussions will be more emotions driven rather than logic driven. So those are not very good dates for business negotiations, but they are very good to bring something to closure. If, say, you're done with somebody, karmic ties need to be cut off very lovingly and in a positive fashion. You within you know that through your strong intuition at the time that this is done. Similarly, for a job, this is a completion of a cycle. If you've been fighting to get a very strong contract through, which is important to you at a soul level, you really wanted to do that, something can come through as well. And that is especially true if you have planets around 17 or 18 degree of Taurus, which is around, I think, about 7th of May born. So right where the full moon is happening, right? So if full moon is happening around your birthday, it could be a major end of an old chapter, culmination of an old chapter, and you're beginning with a new one. But Mercury is opposing this full moon, so it's sort of, there's a, as I said, I mean, the mind and the heart will be at conflict clearly on this full moon. So I suggest to wait for a day or two to make decisions on things. Financial decisions anyways are better made, large investments, they're better made after full moon, not during the full moon. So you should wait till around 8th or 9th would be better. Or actually on 9th and 10th of May, we have a very positive aspect of which is Mercury meeting Pluto and Jupiter. It will allow you to go deeper into things and analyze them clearly in an objective fashion on 9th or 10th of June, 9th or 10th of May, instead of doing that on the date of the full moon or around that. So 6th, 7th, 8th of May, don't close on stuff. There could be an issue in communication with the partner which can come out. This is a good time to talk to a partner on emotion. So emotional relationships is a good time to sort of get things out of the way, but it's not a good time to talk to a boss or a colleague about a business discussion. It's a very soulful full moon. It is a full moon of release to higher powers. We collectively, hopefully, experience a little bit of healing, a respite after a very turbulent period for a brief moment before the eclipses start in June. We'll get the time to catch our breath to some extent, analyze things in depth about how the past and the past events have affected us. There are multiple retrogrades that are happening this month as well, which again take us inward to analyze what really happened and how do we handle things going forward. But overall, your partnerships and relationships, and more importantly, the balance of where you are taken care of or not in your marriage or in your relationship, or do you have the requisite sexual intimacy or depth in your relationships, or is that the contract which you want to be in? Your marriage partner or even a relationship partner could be very transformative for you, and at that time that relationship can come to focus at this time, whether you are taking your partner along or not, or whether you are getting enough space in that relationship. So the give and take and the balance between your individuality and that of your partner can come into focus. And as I said at the start, Uranus in your sign affects the opposite side of the chart, your partnerships as well. So you're not just going to be wanting to shift the way you are, you would want to also shift the way you connect with others. And that includes your partner, it includes your business associates, it includes your clients as well. The kind of clients you go after and how you go after them or not will also shift with Uranus here. We want to have more independence. We want to have more authenticity when it comes to Uranus transiting this house, and we would speak up at this moment if that does not exist. There could be a little bit of up and down there, because the aim is to set free whatever is not real, whatever is not original, whatever is not serving you. So contracts, relationships, partnerships, there can be a shift that can be experienced. And let's talk about the cosmic smile that is happening. So there are 4 dates, I think. Yeah, 9th, 10th of May and 15th, 17th of May. These are the dates when Sun and Mercury are making a positive aspect with Jupiter and Pluto. Whenever that happens, especially at the time when Jupiter is standing still, we receive some positive news. We receive something which is of benefit to us. We receive some form of support. So for you, this is happening in your sign. So it's very, very potent. It's very positive. This is especially true if you have planets around 25 to 27 degree of Taurus, the end degree of Taurus. So if you're a Taurus sun, around 17th of May born, that is very, very positive for you. But overall, all of you, you'll feel that as a positive infusion of faith, positive infusion of support from somebody. These are great dates to negotiate something. Something is given to you in the, if you have been looking to publish something, if you've been looking to close a cross-border transaction, you've been looking to close a relationship with a foreigner, or if you've been looking to close on education, graduate for something. This is the house of mind where we are receiving a gift, and Jupiter will be standing still over there. So some reward is achieved in your house of expansion. This could be a career expansion where opportunity is given to you. These are your connections with others as well. There could be a mentor who helps you or supports you. Your path is essentially enhanced over there. There's an addition that is given to you. You're given sort of more influence as well. So this is something which comes through, especially if you have some written publication or something you wanted to sort of market, or in form of media, education, travel, even relocation you wanted to do, which is difficult at this time. Something can suddenly come through. But what happens is that Jupiter will stand still here right now, and it will go retrograde, and it will only go direct in September. So when something is given to us under this influence, it is paused for a little bit. That does not mean that it's not happening. It can come, a messaging comes to you, a discussion happens, a positive support is received, and that is about a new path, because it's happening in positive aspect with you. So that's received, but it's possibly going to be on hold till September, because you will be asked to add to it. You will be asked to plan around it. You'll be asked to add value to it without social influences. When Jupiter goes retrograde, we add value to our projects without support from others. We're given a support. We're told, okay, this is something you can do, this is something that can get through, you can get an approval like that, or you can start an education course like that, or you can start a new job like that. But then how the structure of that will go through, how will you make it happen, what are the details of it, you'll work on that outside of social influence from this time, mid of May, all the way till mid of September, when then Jupiter goes direct, and then we get another round of expansion into it. It just adds to it. So these are the things that are happening. I'm not going to cover eclipses here, because otherwise we'll be here till tomorrow. We have 3 eclipses coming in June. I wrote a very detailed note on that. We're going to cover the eclipses in separate video. It's going to be happening in your house of, again, this publication. So this news that is coming around 15th or 17th of May could be very karmic in nature for you. Could be, and it's not just for 17th May born or people who have planets between 25 to 17, because eclipse is happening at a different degree. So this could be of karmic influence to all of you. It could be in field of media, marketing, publication, written material, house of mind, expansion of your job responsibility, and you could receive, and it's in positive aspect with you. So that karmic distinction could happen, and we'll see more of that in June when we have an eclipse, when we have eclipses in that area of life for you. We will also just start having eclipses in your house of finances from June as well, but that is just the first eclipse, just a touchdown at this stage. More of that over the course of next 18 months for you, where we change how we make money and we start coming to a path that is lucrative for us. So look forward to that, Taurus, and I'll see you in the next video now. Thank you.